Welcome to the Real Crime Diary, Daily Dose of Crime. Today, we're diving into a case that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about maternal instinct. In a quiet Pennsylvania town, 2 young lives were tragically cut short, and the person responsible was the last anyone would have suspected. What drives a mother to become the architect of her own children's demise? As we unravel this chilling tale, prepare yourself for a journey into the darkest corners of the human psyche. What happens when the very person meant to protect becomes the ultimate threat? Stay tuned as we explore a crime that left investigators baffled and a community in utter disbelief. In September 2019, the tranquil streets of Albany Township, Pennsylvania, a small community nestled about 60 miles northwest of Philadelphia, were shattered by an unthinkable tragedy. 2 young siblings, 4-year-old Brinley and 8-year-old Connor, were discovered hanging in the basement of their family home. The grim discovery sent shockwaves through the tight-knit community, leaving neighbors and friends struggling to comprehend the horror that had unfolded in their midst. As news of the incident spread, disbelief quickly turned to anguish. How could such a terrible fate befall 2 innocent children? The quiet town, known for its picturesque landscapes and close community bonds, suddenly found itself at the center of a nightmarish scenario that seemed more fitting for a crime thriller than real life. Emergency services rushed to the scene, desperately trying to save the young lives hanging in the balance. Despite their best efforts, the children were in critical condition. They were swiftly transported to the nearest hospital, where medical professionals fought tirelessly to reverse the damage. For 3 agonizing days, the community held its collective breath, praying for a miracle. Sadly, those prayers went unanswered. Brinley and Connor were taken off life support, their young lives extinguished far too soon. As the initial shock began to subside, questions started to surface. What could have led to such a horrific event? Who could be responsible for such an unspeakable act? The community, once united in grief, now found itself grappling with suspicion and fear as the investigation into this tragic discovery began to unfold. As investigators dug deeper into the tragic deaths of 4-year-old Brinley and 8-year-old Connor, they quickly realized that something didn't add up. Lisa Snyder, the children's mother, had initially told police that her son was being bullied at school and had threatened to take his own life. It was a claim that would send chills down any parent's spine. However, as detectives began to piece together the evidence, they found no support for Snyder's allegations. School records and interviews with teachers painted a different picture entirely. Security footage from the school bus on the day of the incident showed Connor behaving normally, without any signs of distress or bullying. But it wasn't just the lack of evidence supporting Snyder's story that raised red flags. An occupational therapist familiar with Connor's abilities dropped a bombshell. The young boy wasn't physically capable of causing that kind of harm to himself or his little sister. This revelation turned the investigation on its head. As police continued to unravel the truth, they uncovered something even more disturbing. Snyder's online activity in the days leading up to the tragedy revealed a series of chilling searches. From information about suicide and death by hanging to methods of killing someone, her digital footprint told a sinister tale. As the investigation into the deaths of 4-year-old Brinley and 8-year-old Connor deepened, detectives uncovered a disturbing digital trail left by their mother, Lisa Snyder. Her online activities painted a chilling picture that contradicted her claims of innocence. Police discovered that Snyder had made several alarming internet searches in the days leading up to the tragedy. These included queries about suicide, death by hanging, and disturbingly, how to kill someone. It was as if she was researching the very method that would later claim her children's lives. But the digital evidence didn't stop there. Investigators found that Snyder had been watching episodes of a true crime series called I Almost Got Away With It. The irony was palpable. Here was a woman potentially planning a heinous act while studying how others had nearly evaded justice. This digital footprint became a crucial piece of the puzzle. It not only contradicted Snyder's story about her son being suicidal, but also suggested a level of premeditation that shocked even seasoned detectives. The internet, meant to be a tool for information and entertainment, had become a silent witness to a mother's dark intentions. As the truth began to surface, the community that had once sympathized with a grieving mother now recoiled in horror. The digital evidence had pulled back the curtain on a tragedy that was far more sinister than anyone could have imagined. As the trial began, the courtroom was thick with tension. The prosecution methodically laid out their case against Lisa Snyder, painting a chilling picture of a mother who had betrayed her most sacred duty. Key evidence included Snyder's disturbing online search history, which revealed queries about hanging and child murder. The prosecution argued that these searches demonstrated premeditation and intent. Perhaps most damning was the testimony of an occupational therapist who stated that 8-year-old Connor wasn't physically capable of carrying out such an act on himself or his sister. This expertly dismantled Snyder's claim that her son was suicidal due to bullying. The defense attempted to plead no contest but mentally ill to third-degree murder. However, the judge rejected this plea, forcing Snyder to face the full weight of the charges against her. As the trial progressed, the jury was presented with a mountain of circumstantial evidence that, when pieced together, formed a compelling case. Security footage from Connor's school bus on the day of the incident showed no signs of distress, contradicting Snyder's narrative. In the end, the jury was convinced beyond a reasonable doubt. Lisa Snyder was found guilty on 2 counts of first-degree murder, as well as child endangerment and evidence tampering. The verdict sent shockwaves through the courtroom and the community at large, bringing this tragic chapter one step closer to its conclusion. The courtroom fell silent as the judge delivered the sentence: 2 life terms without parole for Lisa Snyder. This was the culmination of a heart-wrenching journey for all involved, especially the family of the young victims. The emotional impact of this case reverberated far beyond the confines of the courtroom. Perhaps the most poignant moment came when Owen Snyder, the 22-year-old brother of the slain children, addressed the court. His words were raw and powerful, referring to Lisa Snyder not as his mother, but as a monster. Owen spoke of the future that was stolen from his siblings. They would never have the chance to be an aunt and uncle to his newborn son. He would never see the people they could have become. His voice thick with emotion, he said, "If I could turn back time, I would, just to hear their voices." The judge, too, was visibly moved by the case. She described it as the most violent murder she had encountered in her time on the bench. What struck many in the courtroom was Lisa Snyder's apparent lack of remorse throughout the proceedings, a fact the judge pointedly noted. This sentencing brings a legal close to a tragic chapter, but for the Snyder family and the community, the healing process is far from over. As we reflect on this heart-wrenching case, we're left with troubling questions about our child protection systems and the justice process. Could these innocent lives have been saved? The tragic deaths of Connor and Brinley Snyder expose glaring gaps in how we identify and respond to potential threats within families. This case underscores the critical need for more robust mental health screenings and support for parents. It also highlights the importance of taking children's safety concerns seriously, even when they involve family members. Perhaps most crucially, it reminds us of the vital role community vigilance plays in protecting our most vulnerable. The justice system, while ultimately convicting Lisa Snyder, faced challenges in prosecuting such a complex case. It raises questions about how we balance mental health considerations with criminal responsibility, and whether our current legal framework is equipped to handle such nuanced situations. Moving forward, this case should serve as a catalyst for improving child protective services, enhancing mental health support, and refining our legal approach to family-related crimes. Only by learning from such tragedies can we hope to prevent future ones. And there you have it, folks. We've journeyed through one of the most chilling cases in recent memory. The story of Lisa Snyder and her children serves as a stark reminder of the darkness that can lurk behind closed doors. As we wrap up, I can't help but wonder, what are your thoughts on this case? Could there have been warning signs that were missed? How can we as a society better protect our most vulnerable? If you found this episode as gripping as I did putting it together, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss our upcoming deep dives into other perplexing true crime stories. Before you go, take a moment to check out the links in the description. We've curated a list of fascinating true crime books that delve even deeper into cases like these. They're perfect for when you need that extra true crime fix between episodes. Until next time, stay safe and stay curious. Power, Pleasure, and Pain. A study of abuse through time. This book provides a detailed examination of how sexual violence and power dynamics have manifested across different historical periods, from ancient civilizations to the modern era. It explores how figures in positions of power used their influence to manipulate and exploit others, showing that the patterns of abuse conflicts we see today have deep historical roots. Many people struggle to grasp why abuse of power, particularly sexual violence, persists in modern society. By connecting historical events with contemporary cases, the book offers crucial insights into why such behaviors remain prevalent. The book analyzes infamous cases such as those of Harvey Weinstein, R. Kelly, and Dominique Pellicotte, drawing parallels between them and historical figures. This section highlights how the systemic abuse seen in recent times is not a new phenomenon, but part of an ongoing cultural issue. Through the lens of these modern examples, readers will gain a better understanding of how institutions, wealth, and power have historically shielded perpetrators from justice, contributing to their ability to continue harming others. The book explores the philosophy of libertarianism, particularly through the works of Marquis de Sade, to explain the disturbing ways in which pleasure, power, and cruelty have been intertwined. This provides readers with a deeper philosophical context to interpret modern-day scandals. Unlike other studies that focus solely on historical or contemporary cases, this book uniquely blends both, offering a full spectrum of how abuse is tied to power dynamics. It stands out by making philosophical connections that help readers understand the deeper societal issues at play.